I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test, part 260, some famous British films, that is on the page 91. While doing this training and if you participate in this training, that is at your own risk. So we're giving a list of around 13 or 12 or something British films, and we should know the films and also their directors are we going for in this case. So some famous British films. These are critically acclaimed films, mostly, what I say from what I see with regards. The most, or some famous British films, it's both. It's famous and critically acclaimed and classics. But it's The 39 Steps, 1935, and it was directed by Sir Alfred Hitchcock. So the 39 Steps. Now, for example, in this list, there's no Harry Potter or James Bond, and these both franchises are part of the highest grossing film franchises in the world. The 39 Steps is not one of the most famous films. It is a very well-known film. It's over 80 years old. It's very well known, but I just want to if no one knows anything about this, these are, yes, famous movies. These are critical acclaimed movies, and also famous movies, but these are not the most watched movies. So the 39 Steps, 1935, by Sir Alfred Hitchcock. These are meaningful movies, meaningful for the film history, basically. That's it, what they are. The 39 Steps, 1935, Sir Alfred Hitchcock. Brief Encounter, 1945, Sir David Lean. So, Brief Encounter, Sir David Lean. And then The Third Man, 1949, directed by Carol Reed. The Third Man, 1949. I don't know how fast we should go over them. We have to go technically to actually learn them, if one hears for the first time of them, very, very slowly. And the titles are luckily quite short, but if someone is not familiar with the directors or the movies or altogether already, we had to be quite slowly. The Third Man, 1949, Carol Reed. So The Third Man is a movie title from 1949. So in the year 1949 it was published. And the director of the movie is Carol Reed. Of course, in all these movies, many other people have worked at them. Hundreds of people. By every one of them. The Third Man, 1949, and the direction was by Carol Reed. Brief Encounter was Sir David Lean, and 39 Steps, 1935, Sir Alfred Hitchcock. Then we're having The Bells of St. Trinian, 1954, and directed by Frank Launder. The Bells of St. Trinians. The Bells of St. Trinians, 1954, Frank Launder. Frank Launder. The Bells of St. Trinians. The Third Man was Carol Reed. And The Bells of St. Trinians, Frank Launder. And we're having Lawrence of Arabia, 1962, the second movie here by David Lean, directed by Sir David Lean. Lawrence of Arabia, 1962. And then we're having Woman in Love, 1969, directed by Ken Russell. So Woman in Love from the year 1969, that was Ken Lovell. Carol Reed did Brief Encounter was David Lean. Carol Reed, The Third Man. Carol Reed, The Third Man. It was Frank Launder who did The Bells of St. Trinians. And now we're having Lawrence of Arabia with Sir David Lean. It was your Woman in Love, Ken Russell. Woman in Love, 1969, Ken Russell. Carol Reed, The Third Man. Don't Look Now, 1973, Nicholas REG. So Don't Look Now. That was Nicholas REG who had the REG. And Chariots of Fire, 1981, Hugh Hudson. Chariots of Fire, 1981. Hugh Hudson's, 1981. And Don't Look Now was Nicholas REG. Carol Reed was The Third Man, Carol Reed, The Third Man, Carol Reed. And then we're going to come back a couple of times. The Killing Fields, 1984, Roland Joff. The Killing Fields, 1984, Roland Joff. We're going to come a couple of times back to that. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, 1994, Mike Newell. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Mike Newell, 1994. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, so not funeral, and a Funeral, 1994, Mike Newell. Roland Joff was for Killing Fields. Carol Reed, The Third Man. Brief Encounter was David Lean. Also heard about David Lean and the 39 Steps after Hitchcock. And then we get here also Frank Launder with the Bells of St. Trinians. The Bells of St. Trinians. The last one you just had was, we had also 1969 Woman in Love. It was Ken Russell. We had no one huge. We had Hugh Hudson, Chariots of Fire. Hugh Hudson, Chariots of Fire. Now we're having the last one, Touching the Void, 2003, Kevin MacDonald. So Touching the Void, 2003, Kevin MacDonald. Now we're having them all. We're going to do them a couple of times. You may be asked questions about these films and their directors, as well as the history of British cinema and famous actors. May have named a few famous British actors, and they had given 2 or 3 little things to the history of British cinema. And we should learn. I just needed 2 pages because I spent a whole sentence, a half a sentence. To give some information about the Hitchcock we don't need. So the 39 Steps, that is something we need about Sir Alfred Hitchcock. And he worked in the United States, for example. He went to the United States to work there, that's important. And he did this for many decades. Now we're doing the whole complete listing, that's going to take some time. We're not going to do anything new anymore. So if you're just here for, I think it was television, then you can go to the next one. If you participate in wrist training, that is at your own risk. Your arms next to us, hands form to fists, and bring them down. And again up. That is the spotlight. And we have 3 rules. The first rule is that we're stopping immediately as soon as we feel pain. The second rule is that we are going only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort. And the third rule is that we are not overdoing it. So this was the last time we are doing a lot of exercise. The next one, the flashlight. And it's next to us, and we bring it to the inside and to the outside. And last time. And we went for famous movies, famous British films. In a way, if a movie is very successful, it makes the movie oftentimes also famous because many people love it. So is it the movie is famous or many people have seen that movie and still remember that movie? So what is famous? Because we haven't included a single one which was solely commercial successful. We're having the arms out, we're doing the T-Rex in the morning, we bring the hands down, and again up. And the last time, bring them down, and again up. Now we're doing the T-Rex in the gym. If you don't have a tennis ball, just do it without one. We're taking a tennis ball and we're pressing with moderate force onto it. Otherwise, just make a strong fist. And we're releasing again. And we're pressing for a second. We're releasing again. And we're pressing again. Switching the hands. And we're pressing. and releasing, and we are pressing again. And now for the third time, are we pressing and releasing. Now to the cautious bit bang, place the fingertips of one hand on top of the fingernails of the other hand, and we are opening and closing. And the last time we're opening and closing. Now we're switching, and we're opening again, and we're closing again. And now we'll do the 4 snooze and fias director. Having fixed fists in front of us, and we're opening them, and we're closing them again. And the last time, we're opening and closing. Now the frog testing the water temperature. We're having hands next to us and bringing them down with flared fingers. And again up with strong fists. Now down with flared fingers. And up with strong fists. And again down with flared fingers. And up with strong fists. And this is the last time. And for the next exercise, we're having hands next to us and we're making claws. So, bending again. And over again. And make again claws with a little pressure. Hold it for 1-2 seconds. And open again. And make again claws. And open again. And again claws. Open. And last time. Now to the next exercise, we are bringing the arms in, hands formed to strong fists, the fists into flexion, and to the outside, the fists into extension, and with opened hands. Now again in, the flexion, and out, extension and flattening. Again in, the flexion, and out, flat fingers to the outside. And last time, in, and out, and in. Next exercise, we're having hands next to us, and we're bending at the knuckles. And again up, and again down, holding it a little, and again up. Again down, holding it a little, and the last time up, and down. And the last exercise, having one hand, bend it at the knuckles, and pressing onto it. Pressing onto it, and also on the other side. And with the other hand, and pressing onto it, onto it. Last exercise, the unfolding rocket boosters. Hands, strong fists, hands in, and hands out, flat fingers. So long arms, now bend in the elbow, strong fists, into flexion, and into extension, flat fingers. And flexion, strong fists, and flaring and extension. And last time, to the inside, to the outside, and now we're going just with moderate pressure over the middle part of the lower arm. And this has been I thank you very much, and until next time.